The most inspiring startup programs in the history of college athletics, taking UWF to the NCAA Division II playoffs twice in 4 years of the program. In our recruiting spotlight this week, Jaheim Simmons for the West Florida Jags. Check his film and you will see all you need to know about this young man. At a shade under 200 pounds, Simmons runs like he's a fullback. This young man can punish you between the tackles, outrun you to the edge, and run by you in coverage. He truly is the complete package. Oh, you're looking for consistency? How about averaging over 5 yards a carry and 106 yards a game last year for the Jags? After he burst onto the scene, he already has an offer to UAB and interest from schools in the ACC. And don't worry, there'll be more to come, you can bet on that. That's your Gulf Coast Sports Minute. I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Getting out of the military, I was missing this camaraderie.
It's frustrating when you try and talk to people that don't understand.
I would be talking, but I wasn't there with them. You just feel so alone.
I still had the anger, I still had the addictions, but we didn't talk about that.
Came to a point where it's like, okay, I really need to talk to somebody about this.
Family more or less encouraged me, go to the VA, you're a veteran, see what they can do to help you.
When you have family, friends, when you have the facilities like the VA and the vet center, it gives others encouragement to keep moving forward.
It's okay to go get help. It's okay to talk to people because it takes true strength to ask for help.
Talking with other veterans was the best method for learning the roadmap to success.
Hear veterans' real stories of strength and recovery at MakeTheConnection.net.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth. You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? This is your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gulick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson on this Friday afternoon. Weekend's right around the corner. Hope you're doing well. Of course, staying safe, washing your hands, continuing to practice social distancing. We've done such a great job so far up to this point. I know some cases are going up, but we want to caution people and just continue to do what you've been doing. Listen, things are going to be better. Respect each other's space moving forward. Everything that I've seen, people have been doing a great job of that. But nonetheless, listen, as we always start out our show, and we'll continue to do so, it goes without saying, we want to thank our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. Just what they do each and every day, not just during what's going on with COVID-19, but just their day-to-day life and putting themselves out there on the front lines each and every day, protecting us, things we don't even know that are going on. They protect us, and we thank them so much. The healthcare workers as well, when you look at all the things that go on, the service that they provide, we thank them so much. Like I said, I have family and friends on both sides of this. They have sent nothing, and they love their job. Make that very clear. They love to do what they do. They have a heart for it, and I think you have to be able to do that kind of stuff. But it goes without saying the support that they've received from you guys out there in the community, and as a community, we've done a great job as well supporting them. I want to also thank the grocery store employees, truck drivers, all the essential workers out there. I think we forget about these people sometimes. Just being out there during the pandemic, this didn't slow down. In fact, their jobs sped up even more, and more was asked of them during this time. And I thought they did a great job being able to supply us with what we need, especially when we went through the whole, toilet paper incident. Still don't understand that, but nonetheless, truck drivers out there, look, you talk to any of these truck drivers, they love what they do. They appreciate it, and look, we want to let them know that we appreciate them as well. Look, Coach, I know we have a ton to talk about today on this Friday afternoon, but how are you doing today, my friend?
Doing well, JP. And as always, I second your thanks that go out to the appropriate people there that certainly deserve them. And as I said before, we could really take a whole hour and talk about those people, what they've done, what they mean to each and every one of us, and how we should respect our institutions and some of the things that are going on now that are total disrespect. But anyway, we're not going to do that. We're going to be very positive and talk about football and hopefully get some input from some of our listeners out there.
Absolutely, and 850-623-1330 is the number. Call us. Let us know what's on your mind. If you disagree with us, what we're talking about, absolutely bring it on. And if you just want to talk about something football, look, this is Talk Football with Coach K. We got a former NFL coach right here, former NFL player as well. So we're all about it. We would love to have that phone call. I want to make that very clear. We love our listeners, and we appreciate you joining us today. And listen, Coach, we got so much to get to. I want to start with this here. Now, Byron Leftwich came out earlier this week and basically with a tweet and said, now we got a team that believes they can truly win. And when you look at that statement, I think it's important because it shows the impact that Tom Brady, it's not as much against Jameis Winston, but now they have this veteran leader that they needed in that locker room. They truly needed a veteran leader in that locker room. And with Tom Brady, I think that he puts him over the top. We've talked about that quite a bit. But Buccaneers offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich did say that he will have a great challenge, and I wanted to get your take on this, Coach, because he goes on to say, look, he's been somewhere for 20 years. He said, some of you guys have worked the same job for 20 years. You've done something for 20 years in one spot, and then there's a change. It's automatically different. Doesn't matter if it's better or for worse. It's just different. And he's trying to communicate with him, and he just wants to talk football with him, obviously. That's what we're doing here. But he says, you've been doing things and saying things for a certain way so long that it's tough to change that type of thing. And, Coach, I want to bring this in because you've coached, you've played, you've done it all. I mean, the language, I think a lot of people don't understand the language changes when you go from team to team. But when you look at Tom Brady, for 20 years doing what he did in New England, I mean, he just built a niche there. How tough is going to be this transition moving forward? Just solely, not even because of going out and playing. We know he can do that. But the verbiage, the playbook, all these other things that he brings to the table, he's going to have to learn here, Coach. How truly tough is it going to be for him? Or is it not going to be that tough because he's a veteran and, look, he's been doing this for this long?
Well, listen, here's what's going to happen. These are all very bright people, good ideas, and they're going to recognize right away that Tom Brady brings more than just the quarterback position to that football team. He brings a certain part of a system that has been extremely successful in the National Football League. 9 Super Bowls, for crying out loud, they went to. So what they're going to do, and Brady is aware of the fact that you have on the opposite team probably 25, 26, 27 other people that know a language that exists right now. Now, they're not going to change the language to the New England, totally to the New England language. They're not going to do that, nor would Brady want to do that. He wants as much continuity and carryover as he should expect down there. So you want to keep the same language. He is the one guy, then you've got one guy that's got to learn a new language, and that's Brady. It's not going to be difficult for Brady. He will associate it very quickly with what he's done for 20 years. This is not a big deal, and I'm sure they're going to use some of the checkoffs and so on that he's accustomed to using. Maybe not the same word, but the same approach to checkoffs that he's accustomed to, and they're going to incorporate a combination, a most expedient combination of the two systems, which will basically be to keep those people that have played under that system down there, all of the 25, 26 people, as in tune with what's going on as possible, and let Brady, which is not going to be a big problem for him, catch up on what he needs to catch up on. And it's just a matter of an association very quickly with what he's done before. So it's not a big deal, I don't think.
Yeah, it's just, when I look at it, it is, I understand what Byron Leftwich is saying, but this is Tom Brady. And then, Coach, look, that's why I deflect to you. I get your take on this because you've done it. You understand. You've seen all sides of it. For Brady, I think it's going to be smooth. I think him working out with the players now, getting guys together, this is like, Byron Leftwich said, I think he's absolutely right. This is a completely different team than what we've ever seen with the Buccaneers moving forward, because now they've got the guy at the helm that's the veteran leader there that they believe in, that they know is what he's going to go out there and do. They know now it's just up to them to go out and play football. So it's going to be really interesting to see. We've talked about this Bucs team and it's big. Look, we got tons of Saints fans around here, rightfully so, but this NFC South is going to be absolutely amazing this year. And, Coach, moving on, I want to talk, some quick college. This is not big news. I'm sure you've heard it. But Alabama and Ohio State have scheduled a home-and-home series for, hang on to it, 2027 and 2028. We're just trying to get out of 2020 at this point. They'll be in Columbus in 2027, travel to Tuscaloosa the following year in 2028. Not tremendous news. I mean, it's exciting if you're an Alabama fan or Ohio State fan, but you got quite a while. But I will say this, too, just reminding people, most likely Nick Saban won't be there either. That's so many years down the road. Who knows? I'm not saying. But just most likely. So it'll be a little bit different. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, obviously, Coach. I mean, it's great to see when we get big matchups like that, but we'll see if it'll still be a big matchup then moving on. Coach, did want to talk about Jamal Adams coming in the news. Now, look, the safety is great. He is a good player, great player. I have a problem because he just won't be quiet, but and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that as he becomes a problem on a team with the Jets. And do I believe the Jets are run properly? No, but I don't have to agree with it at the same time. Jamal Adams is being paid pretty good, but he wants to go to another team. He doesn't like, being with the Jets. He says that they've ignored his trade opportunities and things like that and haven't talked with other teams. He put 7 teams on his desired destination list. Of course, they're all pretty much 7 playoff teams when you look at it. Coach, my question to you is not about Jamal Adams necessarily as much as it is when a player – did you ever have a player that wanted to be traded on your team, or when you were playing, was there ever a player that wanted to be traded? How would you deal with this? Especially, I know times have changed. I get it because everybody comes out publicly with everything. But I mean, how do you deal with this if you're the organization? I mean, do you just want the guy gone? I mean, obviously you've got to get, because he was a high draft pick for you, you're going to get something for him if you're going to let him go. But, I mean, is this a guy that you're better off without him? I mean, especially with all the drama that's been?
Well, there are two sides to this story. One is you can't have players demanding. Now, they can ask for, I'm sure there's nothing that would prohibit asking for, in the right way, a trade. We've given sufficient reasons why they feel like that's a big part of their life. But that's not going to happen. Then you got to flip it over to the business side of things. It's like you said, he was a high-round draft choice. You have to get compensation commensurate with what you paid for him. And you paid for him with a high-round draft pick, which is tough to come by. Think about it now. What you got to give up if you wanted that draft choice back, what you got to give up to get it. And unless he can bring the same draft choice from another team, and another team that would be in a position to give them the approximate range that they got Jamal Adams in. Can't be a team that you expect to win the National Football League and you get the 32nd pick in the draft, or even upper, third of the draft. So anyway, long story short, there's got to be a commensurate, reciprocatory. It's got to be reciprocal to some extent as to what you pay for the guy. It has to be financially, or it just doesn't work. You can't give up those positions in the draft. That's very valuable. People don't understand that. That draft pick is extremely valuable. Try to get it back. Try to get that draft pick back. And you understand how valuable it is. So they can't. Players just can't go in. I want to go here. I want to go there. I think that'd all be on one or two teams in the country, and then everybody else would just take the day off, I guess, and let those two teams play. I don't know. But it's ridiculous what's going on there. Would I be better off? I think part of your question, would I be better off without him? Probably so. If he is militant about about getting a trade and creating some disruption on your football team in your locker room, yes, you'd be better off without him. But again, unless it makes sense, you can't do that. If you give in, if you relent for him, JP, the next day or the next week, you're going to have somebody else coming in who feels like they want to go somewhere else. And you just can't do it.
Yeah, Coach, and that was one thing that I was going to put out there as well. You're absolutely right, because we saw the same situation unfold for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It started with one player was unhappy, and then the Jaguars got him out of there and basically met his demands and said, okay, you want to go, here you go. And then we saw 2, 3, and then 4 players go, and now Leonard Fournette has already expressed that he wants to get out. It's an ugly situation, because you're right. Once you do it for one player, then you're going to start to have to do it for other players as well. It's a nasty situation. The Jets already have enough problems as it is. Jamal Adams is a great player. I want to make that very clear. But this is rough whenever this kind of stuff happens. But hopefully things work out for all sides moving forward. I know that, of course, Cowboy fans really want Jamal Adams. I've been reading the message boards on that. But nonetheless, Coach, I want to stay in the NFL side of things here. Look, we talk about Phillip Rivers. Him coming over to the Colts, he needed a change of scenery with the Chargers. Things just weren't working out. Last year, didn't have a great year. A lot of people question his ability to play quarterback. But, Coach, when you look at this guy, a couple questions I will ask you. The first question is Phillip Rivers right now a Hall of Famer?
Yes, I think he probably is. I guess I would say use the word probably. I would think it would be more probable than not. But I think by the time he's through, he's going to be very evident. But anyway, no, I think he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason I ask you that is because this is people saying going to the Colts will cement his Hall of Fame, just being able to be a no-doubter. I agree with you. I like Phillip Rivers. I think probably he is a Hall of Famer right now. He's had a great career, a great man. I mean, he is a guy that is he's tough as nails, is always showing up to work. The character thing, Coach, it means a lot to me. A lot of people believe in him. And when you look at going to the Colts, he's going back with a lot of his old coaching staff. Coach, we've talked about this plenty. We've talked about the Colts, and I hate talking about them because of my Tennessee Titans. The Colts are for real. I really think they are. When you look at it, Look, Marlon Mack is at the running back position. We'll see what happens if he's still going to be the starter. I love Jonathan Taylor. I mean, picking him up in the draft was just a slam dunk for them. Nyheim Hines is the third stringer there. Then you got Jordan Wilkins, another guy that has been able to catch the football out of the backfield. They are loaded at the running back position. Then you want to go through the wide receivers. T.Y. Hilton, they drafted Michael Pittman Jr. out of USC. Paris Campbell is now healthy, the speedster. I mean, this guy has Tyreek Hill-type speed. I want people to understand that. They've got plenty. Zach Pascal's a great backup as well. They've got some depth there and got some explosiveness. And then we look at the tight end position. Coach, and I go through this because I want people to understand how good this team is top to bottom. Jack Doyle has done nothing but catch passes left and right. A fantastic tight end. One of the best offensive lines when you look at Costanzo and Nelson and Kelly and those guys. Coach, the defense, we know the defense has been good. They also added DeForest Buckner to that defense to really solidify the defensive line, especially when you look at Justin Houston and those guys. Darius Leonard at the linebacker position, Rocky Sin out there at cornerback, Malik Hooker in the safety position. Like, this team is rock and ready to roll, Coach. I agree. I think this is going to be the perfect opportunity for Phillip Rivers, whether he plays for 1 year, 2 years, whatever he wants to do. I really think that this Colts team, Coach, I'm not ready to put them at the Super Bowl caliber yet because I just don't know. I want to see things put together. But, Coach, I wouldn't be surprised if this Colts team and Phillip Rivers leads this team to a Super Bowl.
No, I wouldn't either. And I'll tell you, I agree with the person there that said, people that have said that Rivers moving to Indianapolis with the Colts would solidify his place in the Hall of Fame. I think he's going to do a heck of a job for the Colts. And, you mentioned defense there. It's just like we talked about with Brady. Rivers is going to keep the ball offensively. He won't turn it over. And he's going to keep the time of possession, I think, in their favor, certainly with that offensive line they've got and with the running backs. And that's going to help the defense even more. So it's a win-win situation for him. And I like Phillip Rivers. I think he's the most he's got the oddest throwing motion of any quarterback I've ever seen. It's like he's placing darts when he throws. Well, he doesn't really throw it like you would see a quarterback throw the football like a Brady or a Manning or some of the others. He puts it out there, but he gets it done. It's amazing how he can throw the ball the way he delivers it, but he does. He gets it done. He's an outstanding pro, great experience. I think it's going to solidify his position, and I think he'll do a good job. And I really believe the Colts are loaded.
Yeah, it's you know how much I love my Titans, Coach. It's going to be an interesting year. Look, the Titans got a good squad coming back, but when you look at the offseason the Colts had, I mean, they did about as good as you can. I mean, all the moves, when you're talking about playing chess, you have to make all the right moves. If you make a bad move, somebody can jump you there, and I think they did. I think they did a great job of it, as much as I hate to say it. But you know what? I do love Phillip Rivers. I like Frank Reich as a coach and what he's been able to do there, the way that he handles that squad and the way those guys believe in him too. They were a quarterback away last year, I thought, from being that obviously playoff team. Jacoby Brissett did a good job, but just can't give them that explosiveness they need and that veteran leadership they need either. But look, we got to go to a break, Coach. When we come back, well, we're going to talk a little Joe Burrow. The question is not how good Joe Burrow is. It's can he lead them to the promised land in Cincinnati. And we'll talk about some teams on the rise, the Florida State Seminoles and Tennessee Volunteers, all that and more coming back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Father's Day is right around the corner, and from the first ballpark Frank together to that game-winning touchdown where you looked at him and said, "I love you, man," we want you to show us your pics. I know that didn't sound right, but really, over the next few weeks, send in that pic with your dad by messaging ESPN Pensacola 1330 on Facebook. Then on Thursday, June 18th at 5 on the Sports Drive, we'll select a random winner for a new Tissot watch from Jewelers Trade Shop. Send in a pic with Pops, and you can win a watch. That's simple. And this year, our sports memories with the family just seem a little bit bigger than ever.
The latest news and sports can be heard on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Get the latest news and football on Talk Football with Coach K. Daily sports talk on your drive home on The Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante. And a recap and look ahead of the sports week on Sports Call with Davis and Justin every Saturday. Plus, national sports radio talk on Golic and Wingo, The Dan Lebertard Show with Stu Gotts, and The Paul Feinbaum Show. It all lives on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Friday afternoon. Beautiful day outside. We're talking some football with you. Weekend's right around the corner. I hope everybody's excited. We are. And, Coach, I'm excited to talk a little bit about Joe Burrow here, a guy we haven't talked about in a while since really the draft. And it goes without saying the season he had last year at LSU is a season that may never be duplicated. And how every stat, when you want to break it down, sometimes stats lie. His stats do not lie. His stats tell the entire story of what happened in that season, just how magical it really was for the LSU Tigers. Coach, Joe Burrow going number one in the draft was a no-brainer. We knew that was going to happen. It was a matter of, was Cincinnati going to mess it up and trade that number one pick away? But, Coach, when you look at the Cincinnati Bengals moving forward, look, Zach Taylor and those guys, they're doing a good job trying to bring in some different talent. He made a lot of changes this offseason, bringing in guys from playoff teams that maybe weren't the stars, but they have a playoff attitude, meaning they know what it takes to be able to go to that next level. But, Coach, I want to start here with Joe Burrow. A lot of people are wondering, can he truly take Cincinnati to the next level? Now, obviously this is going to take a few years to build here, but I think offensively, when you look at Joe Burrow, well, you can't do any better. I mean, once again, you're talking about bringing a young quarterback in. I think he will be ready to play, Coach, just because a lot of what you talked about watching him, watching his film, watching the way that he goes about with his technique and everything, Coach, his mindset. He is a guy, he is a kid that's, I think he's 23, 24 years old, so he's not one of those young cats necessarily, but he has got a mindset of a guy that just does not want to be beat. He will not lose. You saw that last year, and when the interviews were going on, when did you realize you guys were going to be good? And this was before they won the national championship. He said, well, in spring training. Like, we realized how good we were going to be. We knew that we weren't going to lose. It was going to be national championship or bust. And I know people can say, well, yeah, he had to say that. No, but I truly think that's his mindset, Coach. And when you look at the additions for the Cincinnati Bengals, getting T. Higgins out of Clemson in the second round was fantastic. The returners, when A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd, Alex Erickson, those guys are already back. John Ross III's coming back. Auden Tate. Like, these guys are loaded at wide receiver, which makes him that much more scary looking at Joe Burrow and with the talent he had at LSU last year. The question I will say, Coach, is we know the running back position is actually pretty good with Joe Mixon and those guys, but can the offensive line be good enough? That's going to be the question. But, Coach, when you look at Joe Burrow moving forward, not saying this year, but 2, 3, 4 years down the road, do you see him being able? Now, this is, of course, I know that a lot has to go into this, but can he be that playoff-style quarterback, that elite quarterback moving on, that you could see him lead a team to the Super Bowl?
Well, if I didn't feel that way, I would have never thought he should have been drafted first. Certainly I do. I think he is going to be an outstanding quarterback. And watching him play last year, he is the most pro-ready, NFL-ready quarterback that I've seen in a long, long time. There's no doubt about that. But the surrounding cast is going to make a world of difference to him. And I'm not sure about their offensive line, like you said. I do think they have some receivers and skilled people around him, which is going to be big, be good. He does know how to get down the field with them. And he's an extremely accurate thrower, especially passes over 20 yards. I think his stats there were unbelievable. But he is going to depend quite a bit, JP, on that offensive line. And I just hope that they have enough up there that they can piece together and have a good offensive line coach that can make the adjustments. So many things have to do with the offensive line production. And one of them is a good offensive line coach who can make all of the adjustments, stay up on the technique, and make sure when their technique starts dipping some, they're not really using the proper techniques. He can see it and work on it, practice, and get them back. A good example of that was the offensive line coach at New England, who, by the way, has retired again, and I think this time for sure. But he's outstanding, and just did a great job with whoever they had available to play. Now, I hope that's going to be the case in Cincinnati, and I think Joe Burrow is going to be an All-Pro. I really do. Now, what he does this year, when you say take Cincinnati to the next level, they've got about 5 levels to go before they get to championship level. But if he can just get them from the basement where they are right now and get them to kindergarten, certainly if he gets them to first grade, that's a heck of a year. So I think if they could win, 4 or 5 ball games would be a heck of a year with him learning to the extent that he will be learning to do that. He may really surprise some people. They may win 5 or 6 ball games, but they're going to have to be better up front, and they're going to have to be able to stop some people defensively for that to happen.
Coach, I don't know if I've ever heard anybody put it the way you just put it by saying if he can get them to first grade, then that's awesome. That's actually, I understand what you're saying. I agree with you. That's a great way to put it, though. I have to use that one. But, Coach, I think Joe Burrow, the sky's the limit as long as they build around him and they do it properly. Cincinnati hasn't been able to do that in quite some time. With Zach Taylor, though, we're hopeful, we're optimistic. because once again, same thing with Tua and all those quarterbacks, Justin Herbert. We hope we want to see them be the future stars of the NFL because we saw what they did in college, and they're so much fun to watch. But I agree. Look, Joe Burrow is a guy. Remember that when you look at his body of work got compared to Tom Brady. When you look at the technique and everything, the way he throws the football was getting compared to him, and rightfully so. Obviously, Joe Burrow said, look, please don't compare me to him. First off, I don't deserve it. Second, I want to blaze my own trail. And that's, look, the mindset with him, I think the mental capacity for a guy like that is huge, just because obviously playing the quarterback position is so tough because the ball's in your hands, well, the majority of the time. So we'll see what happens with Joe Burrow, but things are looking up. I will say that if you're a Bengals fan, maybe not next year, but in the coming years moving forward. Coach, I want to talk about a couple teams here. Look, teams on the rise. I think the first team that comes to mind, especially in our area, we're talking about on the rise now. Alabama has been there. LSU just won a national championship. Georgia's been good for a while. Florida's been good. We're talking about teams that are coming back up now. No doubt, Florida State Seminoles. Now, we talked about them before. Their projected record this year is 7-5, and I think that's pretty accurate. With Mike Norvell coming in here, Coach, now he cleaned house. Offensive coordinator Kenny Dillingham comes in. Defensive coordinator Adam Fuller's in here now. When you look at the key Seminoles returning, Marvin Wilson, Big Marv, we know he is probably going to be a first-round pick this year at that defensive tackle position. Tamarian Terry, I mean, this young man is unbelievable when you look at what he did last year for almost 1,200 yards receiving and 9 touchdowns. Then you look Nassel Dean there at safety, leading tackler each of the past 2 seasons. I think it's important that they have that on defense. They need to build that defense, but Coach, first and foremost, they need to build that offensive line, and that's where Norvell believes that. Look, they have some depth there. They don't have the superstars, but they have enough depth that they're going to be competing day in and day out. And Coach, we know they open up against West Virginia on the road there. It's a neutral site game, but when you look at they play Samford, Boise State, then they get into the grid of the ACC, going to NC State and Clemson, and moving on, Coach, of course, finishing the season out at home against the Florida Gators. We'll see what happens there. But, Coach, I mean, we've talked about the Florida State Seminoles, and I wanted to bring them up again just because I think for this team, a lot of people need to understand where that limit is, where the ceiling is on this team this year. They've got to figure out the quarterback situation with James Blackman coming back. Of course, recruits Chuba Purdy, and then you've got a guy like Tate Rodemaker coming out of Georgia there. They have a great quarterback battle moving forward. I think with Norvell, he has brought a different attitude to this team. And when you talk to other coaches and you get their take on him, they say Norvell scares the heck out of him because of what he was able to do at Memphis. If you can do that at Memphis, now you're getting him the keys to the kingdom here at Florida State and saying, here you go. A team that we saw what Bobby Bowden did for so many years. We saw Jimbo Fisher take this team to the college football playoff, win a championship with them. They're just 5 years removed from having one of their most successful runs. This is a team that don't forget about them. And, Coach, when you look at it, they're bringing back a lot of young talent. They got some depth at a lot of positions, including defense, and I think that defense is very important. But when you go through here on the offensive side, Coach, like I said, Tamarian Terry coming back is very important. Don't forget about Keyshawn Helton right here in our own backyard. The former West Florida Tech Jag, I mean, he has the most touchdowns in West Florida history. He had a little bit of injury problems, but nonetheless, we know how special he is. Coach, when you look at this for Florida State, I mean, is it a no-doubter this team is on the rise right now? And do you look at this team and say, okay, this team is the second best in the ACC or third best? I mean, we know they're not better than Clemson, but are they, in the next couple years, you believe, going to be in the upper echelon of the ACC?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about it. I've said quite a while now that I think the job that Norvell has done is just outstanding. Really good job. To come in there and salvage that recruiting year when it was really at a low ebb, to say the least. The organization, the discipline, the adherence to rules and conditioning and other things that are so important to a football team were just gone. There was nothing there. And he really stepped into a mess. But as you say, that's a great opportunity. That school represents a great opportunity. You can turn it around to have tremendous success on a national level, not just a local level. So I think that he will. I'm very impressed with what he's doing. I'm impressed with the talent that he's attracting there. And believe me, they're going to attract more than that. That's going to happen. As you know, success breeds success, and as you get better players entice other good players to come. We're going to win, and that all starts playing a tune that they like to hear, and here they come. So I think he's going to do an outstanding job. He certainly has a good track record. When you look at what he did at Memphis in particular, was just beyond the pale. It was outstanding. So I like what they're doing there. They're certainly a team on the rise. And, you know, you look at Florida. I know you didn't mention Florida, but they're only 2 years removed from a rather bleak situation down there. And they've done a good job turning that around, and still on the rise, I guess you would have to say, until they can get that Eastern Division crown back. But I think Florida State for sure is on the rise.
Yeah, it's a good point, Coach. You know, what Dan Mullen and those guys, they've done over at Florida. 2017, this team was 4-7. Just think about that for a minute, this team and how great they are now. We're talking about them overtaking Georgia possibly over there in the East, was 4-7 just a couple years ago. So you're right. Look, when you look at the Florida Gators, that is a team that has done a fantastic job moving forward. When you look at Florida State, Florida's got a lot better, and I'm not talking about the fact that they passed the whole bill to pay players. I'm not talking about that. But Miami's on the up and up. At least that's what they're saying. We've heard that before. But Florida State, when you look at it, the proof is in the pudding there, Coach, with Norvell, what he was able to do at Memphis of all places. And you can bet your butt that it is tough to recruit at Memphis and be able to put that talent out there. And it wasn't just beating up on teams in their conference. He was going out and really going after other teams as well. When you look at Penn State's and stuff, especially in the bowl game, just fighting tooth and nail with teams, and these are some of the top teams in the nation. So I agree, Coach. I think, look, Tallahassee is getting a lot more appetizing to a lot more people. I think they've got the hype back. I think a lot of the players are excited. I think there's not that drama that was around that program that there was for a few years there, especially when Jimbo left it in shambles. But moving on, Coach, look, we got to go to a break. When we come back, I want to talk about Athlon Sports, their 2020 quarterback rankings. Obviously some big names at the top, and we'll talk about some of the names down the list a little bit more. All that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Over the last few months, we've realized that those excuses of not doing yard work, you've had to pay up. No excuses to get fat eating a bunch of ranch and chicken wings and 3 pitchers because it's football Sunday. Tired of trying to pronounce names overseas at 4 a.m. that we don't know in Korea in baseball. But sports is coming back, and we're optimistic to carry all the biggest games on the Sports Drive, 5 to 7 each every night on ESPN Pensacola. Thank God all of this didn't happen during college football season.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Look, chicken restaurants are nothing new. But if you're saying, been there, done that, it tastes like chicken. Well, if your friends offer you a brand new convertible or a broken down station wagon with 3 wheels, do you say, hey, they're both cars? Well, the people have spoken. Mr. Pollo on 9th Avenue was voted top 100 places to eat in the country by Yelp at number 61. Making chicken great again, America. It's that good. Try it and you'll be hooked for life. The freshest ingredients and the perfect catering for any big party. Mr. Pollo. It means chicken. Hey, this is Chad Brillante from the Afternoon Sports Drive, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson. On this Friday afternoon, beautiful day outside, weekend's right around the corner, and we're talking some football with you. Coach, getting into some quarterback rankings here. Of course, Athlon Sports, always good stuff here. Number one at the top. I don't think it really surprises anybody, but I want to get your take on these as we go down, Coach. Number one, Patrick Mahomes. Now, what he was able to do in the Super Bowl last year was fantastic as a quarterback. We know that defense wasn't as good. They played a little bit better down the stretch, but just the unorthodox style that he plays with, that almost backyard football style, Coach, when you look at it, this is a young man that got injured, of course, but came back out, still threw 26 touchdowns to 5 interceptions during the regular season, 10 touchdowns to 2 interceptions in the postseason when he was fully healthy. Coach, we saw him lead that team and Andy Reid to the Super Bowl last year. Is Patrick Mahomes number one on your quarterback ranking list?
He would not be number one on my list, but you have to put him there. I think just based on what he did last year, if you're ranking him right now based on last year's performance, okay, I can see that.
Coach, who would you put at number one on your list?
Tom Brady.
Absolutely. I completely understand that. And, Coach, I will say this, where Tom Brady is on this list, I know that it doesn't necessarily surprise you with how people feel about him sometimes. You're not going to like it. But number two, Russell Wilson with the Seattle Seahawks. And listen, I like Russell Wilson a lot. I think he has taken a team that Pete Carroll, has not brought in the best talent, let's be honest. He has just relied on Russell Wilson to do just about everything. And Russell Wilson, been able to stay healthy as much as he has. This is a guy that's done a great job. Look, it's tough. When you look at the Seattle Seahawks, they're just now starting to figure some things out, but the offensive line has always been a problem. I don't think they've truly built around him this entire time. Once again, I think they have leaned on Russell Wilson, and he has saved that franchise quite a few times. But, Coach, Russell Wilson right here at number two, regardless of the ranking, Coach, what are your thoughts on Russell Wilson?
Oh, I like Russell Wilson. I agree with everything you said. I think he has been the major reason by far that Seattle has had the success that they've had. He really elevates the entire offensive football team. He puts them on his shoulder. He makes plays with his arm, with his legs. He makes the impromptu as well as the organized throw down the field. I think he does an outstanding job, and I think he's certainly in the ball game all the time, and he's a great competitor. So you put all that together, and you've got something very special.
Yeah, I think he saved Pete Carroll's job quite a few times. I will say that. Moving on, but Coach, number three on this list is Lamar Jackson. Now, this is going to be interesting because it's something that you brought up, and some people I've been seeing this, have actually said the same things you have. They're really interested to see how this year is going to play out. Now, last year was the first time, of course, that he was the full-time starter. Moving on, Coach, we saw that it kind of took the league by storm a little bit, surprised some people, but that offense and that style that they play with, a lot of people there's some people that are starting to question, can they truly do it again? and how our defense is going to be able to react to it now that they have a full year under their belt. We saw, look, the Tennessee Titans coach, I'm proud to say this, Lamar came out and said we underestimated the Titans. I'm not going to buy that they underestimated the Titans because I'm not going to understand how an NFL team, when you get in the playoffs, that deep in the playoffs, will underestimate a team. But regardless, I think it was more the Titans just had the perfect game plan. They knew. They said, listen, you can throw the ball, you can do this, but we're going to get you in a tight window, and we're going to make you make a tough decision, not just run around and then fling the football around, and he couldn't do it. He threw some interceptions even though he had 500 yards passing. Coach, when you look at this offense and you look at Lamar Jackson, it's tough to believe that they're going to be able to repeat success that they had last year.
Yeah, and I certainly would not put a running back, a converted running back, in as the third best quarterback in the league. I think, you've got the Drew Breeses and the certainly other quarterbacks that I would consider ahead of him. Yeah.
Yeah, and moving on, Coach, Drew Brees, number 4 right here with the New Orleans Saints. Listen, completed almost 75% of his passes last year. Remember, he was injured, but he was out for 5 games. Threw 28 touchdowns and just 5 interceptions, despite a receiver group that consisted pretty much of Michael Thomas, and that was pretty much it. Let's just call it what it was. And what Michael Thomas was able to do last year was unbelievable. Now, this team, we know with the Saints, is going to be ramped and ready to go, especially with Tampa with doing what they did. They added Emmanuel Sanders, which we both agree it's not really the guy that we would bring in, but nonetheless, look, Coach, when you look at Drew Brees and what he's been able to do, keeping a postseason passer rating, we would talk about regular season, but a postseason passer rating at 115 right there, just fantastic. Coach, people saying that his arm strength has gone down, well, I think you can always say that regardless of age or whatever as you continue on. But Drew Brees has still just orchestrated one of the best offenses that we've seen alongside with Tom Brady and those guys for so many years in the NFL.
Yeah, I think he's a master at it. I really do. I very much an admirer of Drew Brees, and I'm, from playing the position to coaching the position, I think I have a pretty good feel for who's productive and who's not, and what the circumstances are surrounding that position. But I would certainly think that Drew Brees, and despite, as I look at some of the better quarterbacks in the league and what they had last year, okay, Brees put it up. I think you hit on it just a minute ago, with Thomas really with one arm. It's like somebody having to play with one arm because he had no corresponding really number 2 receiver. He had to work with tight ends and backs to complement Thomas down the field. As we talked about, I'm not sure that Sam Sanders comes in, has a big year. That'll be some help, but I don't know that he's going to be the one to do that. But Brees, despite that, with the lack of talent around him, had the year that he had. And look at Rodgers with one arm up in Green Bay, and Brady with maybe less than one arm, a half arm, in New England. There's Brady, Rodgers, and Brees playing without a complementary group of receivers around them and talent, overall talent. It's a shame.
Yeah, it is. It's unfortunate when you look at the guys like that. But, Coach, I do want to come back to talk a little bit more about them. So when we come back, we're going to talk about some of these quarterbacks, including Deshaun Watson. Do we look at him as one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, along with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, those guys? And we'll talk about, look, the group of 5 conferences. Are they on the rise, or is it they're going to continue to be a downfall when it comes to college football and being able to make that college football playoff? Will it ever happen? We'll talk more about that as well when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
For your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Facts, I'm JP. The Gretzky brothers hold the NHL record for most combined points by two brothers, with 2,857 for Wayne and 4 for Brent. Hey, you laugh, but it's still a record. Octopus wrestling was a popular trend in the 60s. A diver grapples with an octopus in shallow water and tries to bring it to the surface. What a time to be alive, I guess. And during the Olympic Games in China, Usain Bolt ate only chicken nuggets as it was the only meal he recognized from home. Ultimately, he won 3 gold medals with this diet. That's your Ridiculous Facts. I'm JP.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly Dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you, alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson. On this Friday afternoon, beautiful day outside, weekend's right around the corner, and as always, we are talking some football with you. Appreciate you joining us. Coach, to get back in our conversation here of the quarterback rankings, now, Deshaun Watson is 6th on this list, and when we look at Deshaun Watson, I like Deshaun Watson a lot, but I think, look, there's been a problem with the Houston Texans here that it goes, look, he's played behind a very porous offensive line. He did have guys, of course, like DeAndre Hopkins there, Will Fuller, but he could never truly settle in and play the quarterback position. He was getting sacked at an unbelievable rate, Coach. I think it's hard to judge Deshaun Watson. I think he's done a good job there, but, Coach, when you look at him, would he be, I mean, number 6 on this list? Is that kind of where you believe he fits?
I can't say that I would put him numbers. I think he's done a good job. I think he's a fine young quarterback. Whether he's going to be what would be considered an upper echelon, meaning a top 5 quarterback, I don't think. You know, I look at it. You say, would he be your number 5 or number 6? The way I look at it is, right now, if I have an NFL team, put yourself as an owner, and you have an NFL team, and you've got some pretty good personnel, line up, pretty good offensive line, some talent, receiver, running back, got a fair defense, pretty good defense. You got a chance to play. The most important position on your team is not there. But somebody has given you the opportunity. JP, go get any quarterback that you want to quarterback this football team. Anybody. Doesn't matter who it is. You go get him and you can have him. Now, who would you take? Okay, and that to me is question number one. If something happened that you couldn't get him, then who would you take? Then who would you take, and so on.
Right.
And I would go down a pretty good ways before I would take Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I think you know what, that's a great way to look at it, Coach. And like I said, you know, with Deshaun Watson, look, I like him a lot. I think he's done a good job there. But you know, with what you're saying, I think, Coach, they have Tom Brady down here at number 8 in this list, and I laugh because Brady, of course, was 8-0 last year and told Al Michaels that he was the most unhappy 8-0 quarterback probably in football history just because he didn't have any weapons. And you look, and he was still what they were able to do going 8-0, and look at what he was able to do overall. People, this is what makes me so aggravated when people want to take a guy, and it's not just Tom Brady. They do this to all these people, but look at Aaron Rodgers last year as well, having no weapons, absolutely none. I mean, when you look at Tom Brady, he had Julian Edelman, and then you look at Aaron Rodgers, and he had Devontae Adams, and Devontae Adams was out for quite a few games. People forget that. But when you look at this and what they're able to do, continuing to play, and Brady's been playing like that for a while. You know, with Gronk being gone, we saw there was a difference in Brady's game. And listen, Brady can only do so much. For people to say, well, see, Brady needed Gronk. Yes, Brady needed, just like any quarterback needs wide receivers and tight ends. They can't do it by themselves. I think we need to use common sense in this. And that's where, when Tom Brady going to the Bucs, Coach, I'm buying it. I really am. For people saying, nah, he's too old, he's going to turn 43 soon, all that other stuff. He is going to be rejuvenated, much like I believe that Phillip Rivers will be rejuvenated. You're giving them basically a new lease on life. Coach, they're seeing the sunlight for the first time in a while. Brady, with those weapons, get him out of here, because you know what? He was 8-0 with almost nobody, Coach, and now you're giving him some of the best weapons in the NFL. Yeah. I can't imagine him doing anything but going out there and possibly bringing a Super Bowl to Tampa Bay.
If I were a betting man, I'd get all those people, all those naysayers together at the table and put in everything they want, and I would take it. I would take Brady if I were in that position that I just mentioned a minute ago. There's no question I would go get Tom Brady to quarterback my football team. So that's why I would put him number 1 right now. And there's some other fine young quarterbacks. I'm not disputing that at all. And as I said, I love Russell Wilson. And there's some fine quarterbacks. But as far as the quarterback position and the skill, the quarterback skill that I look for and that I know is a winning skill, you know, the top 3 would be Brady, Rodgers, and Brees. If you just looked at quarterback ability for a National Football League, for a professional football league team, there would be your first 3.
Yep. I completely agree, Coach. I think with Aaron Rodgers, it goes without saying, too, when he got his one wide receiver back, 10 touchdown to 1 interception ratio in October and 8-2 in December there. And for them, you know, I'm not going to get into it, but for Green Bay to go out there and draft Jordan Love first round, I understand building for the future, but you got a team that was so close, 1 game away from going to the Super Bowl. I think it was a tremendous slap in the face. But regardless, Coach, look, that sound means it's time for us to go as usual. We didn't get to everything, but you know what, Coach? We'll do it all again Monday, but it's been an absolute pleasure.
You bet. Enjoyed it very much, JP.
Absolutely, Coach. Appreciate it. Hope you have a great weekend, and hope our listeners out there have a great weekend as well. We'll be back Monday, sitting here talking some football with you right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
That talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEVY, Milton, Pensacola.
It's First Take Your Take on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM, Channel 80, and ESPN News. I'm Jason Fitz. Let's get you started with the headlines that you need. A couple of breaking headlines. The Philadelphia Phillies closing their spring training facility in Clearwater, Florida, after 5 players and 3 staff members tested positive for the coronavirus. Facility will remain closed until medical authorities are confident the virus is under control, the team said in a statement Friday. The first confirmed case occurred Tuesday. 8 staff members tested negative, while 20 players and 12 other staff members are awaiting test results. The team didn't make any comment on the implication of the positive test and what it could mean for the upcoming season. They're also not the only people dealing with this. The Tampa Bay Lightning have temporarily shut down their training facility after several players and staffers tested positive for coronavirus. The source has confirmed to ESPN other players and staffers who've been at the facility are being tested. The Lightning and NHL will figure out how to proceed based off of the results of those tests. The NHL is right now in phase 2 of its return to play program, which allows for small voluntary group workouts, only 6 players allowed on the ice at a time, and only non-contact drills are allowed. So it'll be interesting to see how the NHL moves forward with this particular issue, as all eyes are going to be on the return of the NBA and the return of the NHL. Well, in order to make those returns happen, you're going to have to know how they'll deal with the inevitability, not the if, but when there are COVID-19 tests that come back that are positive for players. Lastly, not so positive for Major League Baseball. It took Rob Manfred about 3 seconds, Commissioner of Major League Baseball, to decide to reject the Players Association proposal that came on Thursday. Remember, they proposed a 70-game regular season model, and that plan was immediately rejected by Rob Manfred. His quote, "This needs to be over. Until I speak with owners, I can't give you a firm deadline." So after long negotiations, it looked like maybe they'd taken a step forward and 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. I feel like we're singing some Paula Abdul at this point. So opposites may attract and we may get some baseball, but at this point, I don't feel like we're any closer than we've been each time our hearts have been broken throughout the process of this very public negotiation. First, take your take on ESPN Radio.